Okay, let's add and subtract expressions with unlike radicands. So we have the expression here, 3 times the square root of 75 minus 6 times the square root of 48 minus the square root of 27. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the product property of square roots to simplify square root of 75, square root of 48, and square root of 27. So those each break down into the square root of 5 squared, the square root of 3, the square root of 4 squared times the square root of 3, and the square root of 3 squared times the square root of 3. If you're unsure about how that works, think about it this way. 75 is the same as 25 times 3, so they've broken that up there. 48 is 16 times 3, so they've broken that up there. And 27 is 9 times 3. Now we know that 25 square roots to 5, so the 5 becomes a whole number all by itself right there, times the square root of 3. 16 becomes 4, and 9 becomes 3. So 3 times the square root of 75 becomes 3 times 5 times the square root of 3, which is 15 times the square root of 3. 6 times the square root of 48 becomes 6 times 4 times the square root of 3, which is 24 times the square root of 3. And the square root of 27 becomes 3 times the square root of 3. So now that we've simplified that all down, we can multiply things together. Since each of these has a square root of 3, we use the distributive property to put the 15, the 24, and the 3 that are outside of the radical symbols together. So we have 15 minus 24 minus 3, and the square root of 3 stays there by itself. And then we simplify by doing all of this subtraction, and we get negative 12 times the square root of 3. So 3 times the square root of 75 minus 6 times the square root of 48 minus the square root of 27 simplifies to negative 12 times the square root of 3. If a radical expression has addition or subtraction with unlike radicands, what must you check before determining whether the terms can be added or subtracted? Explain your reasoning. Think about this example up here and what each of these had in common. Write your answer in your notes and have it ready to go for later.